Alright, here YouTube. We're at Jarvis's Auto and Fabrication. Today, we are converting this old Kent airtight wood stove into an oil burner. And of course, I'm getting a phone call right as I'm recording. How funny. Anyway, if you hear a buzzing sound, that's what that is. Let's see if I can make it go away. There, oh, there we go. Okay, anywho, got it cleaned out. Got the inside cleaned out. Oh, yeah, can't see in there. If I turn the light on. There we go. Let the light bulb warm up. Got it scraped out a little bit in there. And X marks the spot right there in the center. Right there. And I got a spot up on the wall which you can't see right now. And have my stainless steel pot down there. And this is what I came up with. So I got a few tips and tricks. I'm using 3/4 pipe just because this is all I basically have fittings for. And Home Depot, I mean, it's not terribly far away. It's about 15, 16 miles away. I do have some 1-inch down here. That stuff there, I kind of wanted to use the 1-inch. I have plenty of that, and I have some fittings. Yeah, some fittings there, some unions and caps and whatnot. But mainly all I have is 3/4 and some 1/2 inch, and then now you can't see the rest of my pipe stuff over here, but get my, yeah, come on, seriously. Got a bunch more plumbing stuff there. I used to have that bucket there full of plumbing stuff, plus a whole bunch more. And of course, over the years, plumbing in sprinkler systems and garden hoses and horse troughs, and I'll tell you, haven't made it to Home Depot in quite a while and bought any plumbing stuff just because I've used everything on hand. But now I'm getting down to the skimpy here. Give you a quick tour real quick of the other plumbing stuff. I mean, I got pipe thread. This is a lot of hydraulic stuff right there. Got a bunch more hydraulic crap there and on the shelf and valves and whatnot. But I have a whole bin here full of a bunch of quick connect air fittings and threaded air fittings and brake air line fittings, and I have one-way exhaust valves, two-way exhaust valves, switching valves, electronic valves, needle valves, gauges, yada yada yada. Got a ton of that stuff. But anyway, I'll get you back to my project here, not bore everybody half to death. So what we have here is some 3/8. I know guys are using copper. I don't have any copper, but I got some stainless steel tubing here. And right here where you see the discoloration, right there, this tubing actually used to come and bend at a 45 and come down and stop, you know, somewhere right here. So it 45'd, and I couldn't have that. It wasn't going to be long enough for my elbow right here on the left and to go all the way through and stub out. It just wasn't going to be long enough. The bend started. I can't hold this and show you at the same time. Oh, maybe I can. There we are. Yeah, the bend started like right here, so it just wasn't going to work. So I was going to try to put this in there. This 1/2 inch. Oh wait, was that 1/2 inch? Oh no, that's not what I was going to do. My bad. I was going to try to use this 3/4 by 1/4. I was going to try to put that in there, but of course I didn't have anything 1/4. I got it in 3/8. So anyway, alright, so this is what I got. I have this piece of pipe threaded into the collar. This collar here is going to go into the stove, right here on the side. It's going to go right here in the side somewhere. I'm going to mark that out here in a minute and drill the hole, and that's going to get welded in. So if I ever want to make this back into a wood stove again, all I have to do is unscrew the piping from the inside and then unscrew the piping from the outside, or I can leave it on, just put a plug in there, and then I can burn wood And then if I want to make it back into an oil burner, just take the plug back out and then put my elbow pipe back in, which the inside elbow pipe is this piece right here. This is going to be an adapter with the 1-inch flange on it, just to play around with the flame a little bit. If I don't like it, I'll unscrew this, and it'll be a little bit taller. Threads stop about right here, so the air gap will be a little bit different. And yeah, so we'll play around with the air a little bit. But the threads right here, they were smashed, literally smashed down, so they weren't going to work. So I just lopped that off, and I'm just going to weld it right onto this elbow. Speaking of elbow, getting a piece of tubing in an elbow like this, you want one of the small ones. You don't want a street elbow, you want a double female elbow. Now, you can do it any way you want, but this is how I did it, and it works fantastic. So you get this short quarters, 90-degree, 3/4, this is what this says, 3/4 elbow, and measure your pipes appropriately. I can give you some measurements here at the end of the video of what I did. But what I did is, if you look inside, you can see right there at my fingernail, the pipe used to go, let me get this a little bit better. Okay, right at my fingernail, the threads used to go right here. Oh, come on, focus. There we are. The threads used to go right at the top of my fingernail. I took my Dremel tool with a little sanding drum, and I stuck it in there and I sanded up, and I grooved the inside bend. I did this side, and then I turned it around and did this side, and I kind of went back and forth with the Dremel tool, make the radius kind of smooth. Try not to cut into it too far. It does have that little brace, but I didn't want to cut into it too far. And that is so, let me get this over here. See if we can do this with one hand. That is so I can get, oh come on, focus, it's freaking cell phones. So I can get the elbow in there. Now before, you'd stick it in there and it would hit. It just wasn't close enough. It was something like, you can see the pipe inside. it just wasn't going to work. So once I ground that in, now I can slide this up, come on. And then, there we go. Now I have my elbow in place. So the elbow goes there. Then there's my standpipe. And then obviously I got to cut this tubing down. I'm going to do that very last, just so I have my exact measurement, because I want it sticking out probably flush with this. Like right flush with it, maybe in just a hair. I'm going to try flush first. If it's too close, I'll trim it back a little bit. Take the collar off and trim it down with my little cutter. You screw on and just go around, or use a grinder and just cut it off. Anyway, got the standpipe there, and then this unit here slides all the way through. 3/4 inch pipe. Come on, there we go. That there is going to get welded on, and this will be just enough room. I weld that on right here. It'll be this piece and this piece is just one unit, and this will unscrew. Mind you, the wall of the stove's right here, right where my finger's at. So unscrew this from the side of the stove like that, and then it'll be just fine, and then I can screw this pipe in. So there's plenty of room to do that. What I didn't think of is, how am I going to screw that with this in place? I have got to think about that for a minute. That is a very, very good question. Well, I guess once this is cut to the proper length, that'll be able to spin the whole thing inside the stove. I don't know, we'll figure that out. Anyway, we're on tips and tricks right now. That's going to get welded on. Tube goes all the way through. This is where my air is going to come in. I'm going to use a mattress inflator for now, so I'm going to plumb that into here. So the wall of the stove's here. I'm hoping this will be far enough away from the stove and heat transfer and air blowing through it that this fitting should stay fairly cool. Being that the wall's right here, the air's flowing through here. And then right here where the tubing's sticking out, I got this compression fitting here that come obviously with the nut. And here's the compression sleeve. It's meant for 3/8 airline. You know, the brake airline tubing there, that kind of stuff. I mean, that's 1/2 inch there. I don't have a chunk 3/8 handy. Or, yeah, I do. Right there. Anyway, that fits over that. But it works perfect for this pipe. I mean, this 3/8 collar, I mean, it fits nicely. Oh, come on. Autofocus. It fits nicely over that. So, this piece here was the right size, right here at the tip of my finger, but it had a ridge in there. So I had to take a 3/8 drill bit and I had to ream this out all the way to the bottom, which the ridge started about where my thumbnail's at now, and I had to drill from there all the way to the bottom. So this now will slide all the way. Oh, gotta get to the point where goes in. Come on. I had to use a torch and bend this with heat, so excuse the... Oh, come on, there's nothing cooperating here. There we go. Oh, I might have to sit you down for a second. This is not wanting to cooperate. Oh, there we go. So then that thread's in there like so. And then the compression fitting goes on. You get the point. And then the sleeve goes on. And you tighten it up so then when air comes in, it's not going to blow back out. And then this too, when you hook the oil line up to it, to the bucket, I'm just going to try a bucket for now. I have 55-gallon drums. I thought about putting a 55-gallon drum in here, but I don't know. I mean, I could make a rack or a shelf for it, but you know, all the oil I have is in 5-gallon buckets. I have probably 20 or 30 buckets just full of oil. That's why I'm doing this, is I'm tired of getting wood and buying wood. So I'm a wood cutter, but I just haven't been out to do it in forever. And my saw I got to put back together. Whole nother story for another time. But yeah. So I figure just for now, to get this thing up and running, 5-gallon bucket will work just fine. And instead of doing something round and drilling a hole into the side and putting a plug in there, I mean, will probably work. I don't want it leaking. What I might end up using is that down there, that Tidy Cats bucket. They're nice and square, and they're at least 5 gallons, if not maybe a little more or a hair less, not sure. I'll try to get it to focus a little better. But anyway, it's got a flat side to it. Now the lid doesn't seal, you know, like if you like slosh it around, it probably will spill, but you know, I'm going to put it up on the shelf and fill it with oil. I mean, plain and simple. And you open the top there and there's enough room to get it in there. So I think that's what I'm going to go for. I'm going to go for that bucket and probably screw a fitting in there with a back nut and with an O-ring to keep it from leaking. And then I got my valve here, my needle valve. I mean, it's meant for air. It is 1/4 inch, and I think that may be big enough. If it's not big enough, I have a hydraulic one here that's actually meant for fluid, and this one's much larger. I mean, I don't want to use it. I actually want to use it for a hydraulic project. I have probably 7 or 8 of these damn things, varying sizes or more, who knows. But the hydraulic ones, I know that guy there is. It's about 120 to 170 bucks just for that stupid needle valve. Or this air one here is probably about 30 bucks, if that. So I'm going to try this first. And yes, battery's low, blah blah, unable to use flash, don't care. So, well, I'm going to have to cut this video short. I only got 15% battery. I'm going to have to plug my phone in. So I got this to meter the flow that's going to be going into this valve here. So I'm not sure how I'm going to do this yet. I don't know if I'm going to attach it to here or if I'm going to do it up at the bucket. I'm not sure. Most guys have their needle valve close to where it's the entry point into the stove, so I don't know. I might put it in close. I mean, from the wall of the stove to here. Let me grab a tape measure real quick. I mean, the stove's going to be going obviously in this place, so I mean, I don't want the pipe sticking like way out here by the toolbox so it can get snagged on everything and people are tripping over it or whatever. So basically from the wall of the stove to that pipe, you can see, make sure we're about center there. That looks about center. So once that nut's on there and I stub it out and cut it off, looks like probably about 10 inches. Maybe we'll go a little bit more. We'll go 10 and a half, maybe 11 inches. And we'll come over here, and from roughly, I mean, this stove's a lot skinnier, so we're going to come out. So you can see how far that's already going to come out. So I don't think I want it to come out much further than that. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll put a bend in it right here in this tube back here or something, or cut it off and put an elbow right here and then have the needle valve coming down and then 90 and in with the oil. And yeah, I mean, it would be nice to put in some kind of a sight glass. I've seen guys use stuff like this and they cut a window out of it so they can see the oil. You know, about a pencil lead seems to be common thickness worth of oil going through. And yeah, so okay, I'm gonna get my phone on the charger. I'll show you more. But yeah, this fitting here, this compression fitting that's meant for air hoses, the poly plastic air hose, once I took the drill bit through it, it fits over this pretty tight, so I had to take a round chainsaw file here. I believe, what size is this? Just so you guys, 7/32, right? Boy, I'm rusty on my chainsaw knowledge. Oh boy. Okay, so anyway, yeah, I had to take the file, and I just propped the file up against the side there, and I ran that fitting back and forth as I was rolling it my hand, try to make it true as possible without getting, you know, it egg-shaped inside. And I took a fair amount off just because the pipe isn't perfectly round right in here, this tube here. I did bend it back with some heat, and of course, you know, the metal deforms and it never is returned back to a perfect circle. So I had to file just a little extra to get this to fit in there, but it fits now. It goes all the way through. And yeah, so that's basically it. So I am going to get this welded on right here. And for the removal process, I'm going to figure out how this is going to work. If I ever need to take this and this off, since these two are going to be one, I'm going to do that with this tube in the way. So yeah, alright, I will show you guys more here in a little bit. This may be a several part series, I'm not sure yet, so I will let you know. Alright, thanks for watching. Talk to you soon.